Hey everyone, welcome to the Mitt and Dad Show. I'm kind of going to do something a little new this time, recording the video and going to upload it to my YouTube, but the audio side of it will still go out to all of the respective audio platforms. But with that, just wanted to welcome you to another episode of the Mitt and Dad Show. I'm your host, Matt Tillman, and today I've got something I think is kind of exciting to share. A lot of you out in the AI world may have already heard about this, but Google's NotebookLM released this. I think it's a pretty cool feature where you can upload any kind of text you can think of, and be able to turn it into like an auditory learning experience pretty seamlessly. So that's exactly what NotebookLM is doing, and to me, I think it's going to kind of rapidly change how we consume and interact with our written content. So if you've been following along on any of my other platforms for my Substack newsletter, I recently shared 40 quotes that I found inspirational to help celebrate my 40th birthday in a recent newsletter issue. You can find that in the show notes below. But with that, I thought as a good, first experiment to see how this technology would work, I wanted to take the text from my newsletter and that I had put in there as far as all the different quotes and seeing how NotebookLM could bring them to life with these two totally AI hosts and have them do a deep dive into each of the quotes. And honestly, my mind is kind of blown as far as how good the technology is. So without further ado, go ahead and have a listen. Let me know what you think of this new technology. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment below. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm just trying to continue to build up this channel. And as many on YouTube know, it's one of the best ways we can continue to grow is through liking and subscribing and making sure you turn on the notifications. And just let me know what you think of this new technology. And then certainly if you're listening in on Spotify, they have a great feature on there where you can leave comments now on podcast episodes. But if you're listening on another platform, make sure you send me a message over to Substack. I'll leave the link to that in the show notes. But with that, let me know what you think, because honestly, it was pretty mind-blowing to me how, one, realistic the hosts sound, but then how they interpret the different quotes. And I thought it was pretty entertaining. It's only about 10 minutes long, so hopefully you stick around through to the end and let me know what you think. Until next time, we'll see you in the next video.
Okay, so get this.
We're celebrating a birthday today.
Oh, yeah.
Someone we know.
Matt Tillman just turned 40.
Okay.
And instead of like asking for gifts or something.
He decided to give us something.
Oh, okay.
40 of his favorite quotes.
Wow.
Spanning everything from self-care to business to raising kids.
The
whole life journey so far.
That's fascinating because it sounds like he's chosen quotes that
aren't just witty or profound in isolation, but they point toward a deliberate attempt to
capture the essence of what he's learned over 4 decades.
It's like peeking into someone's personal philosophy journal.
Right.
And that's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
Not just what Matt Tillman finds quotable, but why.
What could you listening in?
Take away from this curated collection of wisdom.
It's about recognizing those universal truths that resonate regardless of your age or what you do for a living.
We all grapple with self-care, career choices, family dynamics.
It's inherently relatable.
Totally.
Like right off the bat, he's got Anne Lamott in the self-care category.
Reminding us to unplug. I mean, haven't we all felt the digital burn lately?
For sure.
But then he throws in this curveball from Audre Lorde,
okay,
saying self-care is political warfare.
Oh.
Whoa. Things just got deep.
And that's a great example of how a well-chosen quote can jolt us out of our assumptions.
What does it even mean to think of self-care as a radical act?
It challenges us to examine the pressures we're under and who benefits from us not prioritizing our well-being.
Mind blown.
But he doesn't stop there.
Matt's got Buddha urging us to love ourselves.
Oscar Wilde saying true romance starts within.
It's like a self-love playlist curated by a philosopher.
And the underlying message, wouldn't you say, is that self-care isn't selfish?
It's fundamental.
Yeah.
It's about showing up fully in all areas of life because you've replenished your own well.
So how about you listening in?
What are your non-negotiables for feeling good?
It's easy to let those slide, right?
It is.
And then you hit a wall and you're like,
Wait, was Buddha right all along?
Right.
But it's not all introspection and bubble baths with Matt.
He dives headfirst into the world of business and ambition, too.
Okay.
There's Walt Disney telling us to just start doing.
And then Churchill popping up with that classic about courage not being about never falling down.
But getting back up every time.
There's a real emphasis on resilience in those business quotes, wouldn't you say?
It's about viewing challenges as inevitable. And more importantly, how you respond to them.
And I love that he included this one from Emile Zola.
I do not despair in the least of ultimate triumph.
That's the energy we need, right?
Yes.
To truly believe in what we're working towards.
It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind and lose sight of the bigger picture.
These quotes remind us to hold on to that vision even when faced with setbacks.
Speaking of,
Matt doesn't just leave us with pep talks, he gets into the nitty-gritty of creating opportunities.
not just waiting for them.
Oh yeah, he's got Chris Grosser flat out saying, opportunities don't just happen.
You create them.
Love.
And then there's Peter Drucker hammering it home.
The best way to predict the future is to create it.
Music to a go-getter's ears.
It's about adopting a proactive mindset.
Not waiting for permission or some lucky break, but taking ownership of your path.
Which, let's be honest, is scary.
Yeah.
But maybe that's part of what Matt's getting at here.
You can't have the growth without the risk.
I like it.
Okay, so we've covered taking care of yourself.
We've talked about crushing it career-wise.
But Matt doesn't forget about family.
He's got a whole section dedicated to parenting.
And you can tell this is close to his heart.
And rightfully so.
Raising kids is one of the most challenging, rewarding, and often humbling experiences.
These quotes offer a glimpse into his values as a parent.
The lessons he's learned and what he hopes to pass on.
For example, this one from Jess Lair really resonated with me.
Children are not things to be molded, but are people to be unfolded.
I love that.
It's so easy to get caught up in trying to shape our kids in our own image.
It is.
But ultimately, they're their own people with their own paths to forge.
It's a powerful shift in perspective, isn't it?
From molding to unfolding, from directing to guiding.
It recognizes their inherent worth and potential beyond our own expectations.
And speaking of letting go of expectations,
Matt doesn't sugarcoat the realities of parenthood either.
he throws in this gem from Sue Atkins.
Okay.
There is no such thing as a perfect parent, so just be a real one.
Boo.
Ooh, talk about taking the pressure off.
All right.
It's a much-needed reminder in today's world, isn't it?
Where the pressure to project an image of perfect parenting is so pervasive.
Often thanks to social media.
It's like everyone's posting their highlight reel.
And meanwhile, we're over here just trying to survive Tuesday.
Exactly.
This quote encourages authenticity and reminds us that it's okay to not have all the answers. We're all learning as we go. And sometimes the best thing we can do is simply be present and honest with our kids.
Which, let's be honest, is probably good advice for life in general. Be real, not perfect.
But there's one more parenting quote I want to highlight before we move on.
Okay.
This one from Peggy O'Mara.
The way we talk to our children becomes their inner voice.
Whoa.
I mean, talk about a responsibility check.
That's a powerful one, isn't it?
It's not just about being mindful of our words in the moment.
But recognizing the lasting impact they can have.
It's like those words become part of their internal monologue, for better or for worse.
Suddenly I'm thinking back to my own childhood.
We all are, probably.
But it's also a hopeful message,
Well,
right?
because it means we have the power to shape those inner voices positively.
To help our children develop self-compassion and resilience.
Totally.
Okay, ready to tackle the final frontier.
Matt's musings on getting older are a mix of humor and real talk.
Okay.
He's got the classic Mark Twain line.
Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
Always a good one to lighten the mood.
It speaks to the idea that age is just a number.
And it's our mindset that truly shapes our experience of getting older.
And then he throws in this bit of wisdom from Henry Ford.
Anyone who keeps learning stays young.
So basically, keep those brain cells firing, folks.
It's about staying curious, engaged, and open to new experiences.
It's not about clinging to youth, but about embracing the growth and wisdom that come with each passing year.
Right.
Like instead of dreading birthdays, maybe we should see them as opportunities to level up our wisdom stats.
And speaking of embracing growth, Matt reminds us with a quote from Walt Disney
Okay.
that growing old is mandatory, but growing up is optional.
Now this one really got me thinking.
It begs the question, what does it mean to grow up?
Is it about responsibility?
Maturity.
Letting go of childish things?
Or is it something else entirely?
Right.
Is it possible to be grown up in the traditional sense while still retaining a sense of playfulness and wonder?
Because honestly, that sounds like the ideal balance.
It does.
And this whole idea of digging deeper.
Of finding those hidden layers of meaning.
It applies to some of the lesser-known quotes Matt chose as well.
Absolutely.
While many of his picks are well-known, there are a few that might have flown under your radar.
Which is part of what makes this collection so fascinating.
It's not just about the quotes themselves, but about what they reveal about mass influences and worldview.
It's like he went on a treasure hunt through history and came back with these little nuggets of wisdom from all these different sources.
Like, for instance, I'd never heard this one before.
The fire which seems out often sleeps beneath the cinders.
Ah, Pierre Corneille, the French playwright.
That's a powerful metaphor, isn't it?
It speaks to the idea that even when things feel dormant or lost,
there's often a spark of potential waiting to be rekindled.
It's like even when we feel burnt out or discouraged,
that inner fire hasn't necessarily gone out completely.
And it might just need a little stoking.
Exactly.
It's a message of resilience, of hope, of the cyclical nature of life itself.
We go through periods of burning brightly and times when we feel a bit dormant.
But the potential for growth and renewal is always there, waiting for the right conditions.
So we've uncovered all these hidden meanings.
And aha moments in Matt's quotes.
Right.
But it makes you wonder.
What good are insightful quotes?
If they don't actually change how we live.
Right. That's the heart of it, isn't it?
They're like seeds of wisdom.
They need the right conditions to take root and grow.
Totally.
So let's get practical.
Okay.
You know how we tailor each deep dive to our listeners?
So for all those out there who are wired to achieve,
constantly pushing towards the next goalpost.
Mm-hmm.
I think this quote Matt picked out is a game changer.
Don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great.
John D. Rockefeller.
That one can be tough to swallow, can't it?
It forces us to confront this idea that maybe we're playing it safe.
Even if things are objectively good, because the great stuff seems too risky.
It's that classic comfort zone dilemma.
But then Rockefeller,
a guy who built an empire,
is basically saying playing it safe is what's truly risky.
It's a bold statement that challenges us to examine our relationship with comfort and risk.
What are we truly capable of if we're willing to let go of something good in pursuit of something extraordinary?
That's something I bet a lot of us are grappling with, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a career change, a creative pursuit we've been putting off.
Even just setting bolder goals for ourselves.
Exactly.
And what's really striking is how this all ties back to the fact that
these quotes are a birthday gift from Matt.
It's chill.
He could have kept all these gems to himself, but he chose to share them.
Almost like an act of generosity.
It's an invitation to reflect not just on his words, but on our own lives.
What resonates with us?
What lessons have we learned over the years?
And what wisdom would we share with our younger selves?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's like if we were to create our own curated collection of quotes.
What would make the cut?
And perhaps more importantly, what actions will we take based on the wisdom we've gathered?
Because ultimately, that's the true measure of growth, isn't it?
Not just accumulating knowledge, but using it to live more fulfilling and meaningful lives.
And on that note, I think we've done our part unpacking Matt's 40 for 40.
Happy birthday, Matt.
And to all of you listening, keep those inner fires burning.
And don't be afraid to chase after the great. You never know what you might achieve.